KarsaKKWX. Here today we're going to be playing a little bit of Waystone Mysteries. We're on episode 22, currently trying to find some vampires and a necklace. Let's get to it. Alright.
22, that means the series is actually old enough to drink in most US states.
Yes. Have they changed?
And Canada.
Have they changed the, is there any particular state
Utah.
Oh, really?
Well, it's presently on the vote, but it's not looking good for them.
Okay.
Well, there's how to date your video within the first 10 minutes.
Yep. That is exactly how to do it. Alright. So, you guys were heading, well, you had done a lot of stuff with trying to find out where the necklace might have gone, or the amulet might have gone, but the last thing that I think you guys said was you were going to go see Jenkins. Am I right? Bueller?
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're gonna run into Jenkins regardless because there's only one way off the island. Well, I mean, there's actually several, but you don't really feel like getting your shoes wet.
Okay. So, what are you guys gonna do first?
Leave and go see the butler.
All right.
Where are we presently?
I don't know. Where do
Not
you
seeing the
remember?
butler.
Well,
You're still on the island.
well, I figured that part out.
Were you not remembering where you were?
I mean, where on the fucking island are we?
You're exactly where you were. Do you not remember?
No.
I don't remember either. Come on, where are we?
That's terrible that you don't remember you were.
You guys are at the top of the tower. You were currently with Harrison.
We're still chewing out Harrison. Got it.
Yeah.
Well, officially you'd finished chewing out Harrison and were about to vacate that area. This is the opportunity for if any other plans have been considered within the castle/island currently to make them known. Or you could always head down to the dock and see about getting a boat back to the mainland.
So
I don't
why
know
are we
about you,
going
I
to go?
kinda feel like we've done everything we can do here.
Yeah, I think the rest of Waystone has everything else in hand. We hope.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Alright, so yeah. You guys are heading out of the castle, go down to the dock, and basically get waved through by a couple of security guys who are still in the process with a sizable group, probably about 50 or so, very annoyed looking guests, multiple of which are basically looking at your group getting allowed right past everything, like, who the fuck are these twats? Do you know who I am? You know, and then being told by security that, yes, we know exactly who you are, we also don't care. You wait your turn. And a lot of mumblings, oh, no, I'm not going to be giving any more next year, these pricks. All that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's very amusing. So yeah, you guys are able to hop on a boat and get taken straight back across the mainland. And immediately upon disembarking at the other side, you are greeted by one Mr. Jenkins. You can tell because he's a butler.
He's the butler, the top, the head of all of the butlers and maids in this service.
The king of butlers.
The
Take it.
king
Yeah.
of the butlers.
King Jenkins of the butlers. He is in charge
Butleria.
He is in charge of Butlia, actually, not Butleria.
Butler Island. They serve people all the time there.
Yeah,
Mm.
on platters.
Mm.
And they have
It's a
some
cookbook!
They have some very nice gloves that are always kept pristinely white.
I get this reference.
I'm pretty sure a lot more than just you do. Just you're the only one that reacts to it.
All right. Fine. He's the head butler on the island. Why does this matter?
Because he is the personal butler to Harrison.
And he's the one who'd most likely know more than any other servant what's going on.
You can immediately tell that he is very nervous, and it's more than just nervous about if anyone gets hurt in this, sudden evacuation, and that he kinda does look like he knows a bit more than he's letting on. So yeah, looking at him, he appears about mid-30s, possibly into his early 40s, and he's basically trying to guide a few of the security personnel to usher people to their vehicles and whatnot in a timely manner, standing by, leaning quite heavily on a cane, and looks somewhat pained. And yeah, he has the sort of standard butler protocol uniform, very well done suit. Of course, some suits are vastly more well done than his. He looks like a butler.
Pretty much checking everybody to make sure that they are getting off the island safely. Their names off of his checklist. And getting them onto the boats. You guys are cutting the corners and cutting line. Take it away, Jenkins.
Yeah, see, we never even talked about this. I was going to make you do it for a while.
I play the females.
Jenkins, we need to get to land.
Yeah, he looked up from the list he's going through because he's got a couple people with him. He's quickly going down, ticking names and like, hey, I should go over there. And he looks across and he immediately catches on to the insanely orange suit. And it's kind of looks at you with the furrowed brow, glancing back at the list, you should be on this list here, but you're not. Who were you with?
He's with me.
Ashley's there, actually.
Yeah, you know who I am. I'm here all the time.
Alright, he kind of just scrolls through and... Oh, yes. How many did you have with you? Are they all accounted for?
One left early. Or is actually... Yeah, one left early. I don't think they were there for very long. And... 2, 3... 7?
He looks back and there's a moment of furious scribbling.
There are not 7 with us right now.
Exactly. But yeah, he's just basically noting down that yes, Ashley and her party are accounted for.
Yes.
Then he looks back over to Agent Orange. Like, yeah? What do you need?
We need to get back to the mainland.
Well, you're on the mainland now.
We,
Smartass, listen.
No, what I'm saying is, you did hop on the boat, you're onto the mainland. This is when you get off the boat on the other side.
Oh, okay.
That you
Alright,
then come
yeah.
on there. Yeah.
Then I
Sorry,
see no
I-
reason to talk to this person. Let's go.
Fair enough.
I don't know why
Fair
you spent
enough.
that long describing
Right.
it, and giving him a point. All this, like, let's go. We know where we're going.
Oh my god, it's almost like
Well,
sometimes GM does
do
things
you know
like
where we're
that.
going?
I'm curious
Oh,
as
we had several potential leads. We could either try and follow to where Coolidge is set up, because we suspect he has something to do with the Secret Service. We have that one professor who was probably murdered, but whose place is yet to be searched.
Okay.
Like, those are two leads right there, and those are just the two that I can remember. Can anyone else remember more?
Nope, you got the two. It's just a couple people were very pushy about talking to the butler because he was the one handing out invitations to everybody, which would include
Alright.
the people that would
And
have shown
speak up!
I don't remember who wanted to talk to him. That's the problem.
Well, it wasn't me. I didn't know we were going after a butler. So I assume it was. That couldn't be Vinny either, because he would have left by then.
And it may have just been a, well, we have to walk by him anyway, so I guess we could just ask him a couple questions. It may have just been that simple, too.
Alright, fair enough then. Who had the questions in mind?
I don't know. I think it was just a, if anybody has any, we have to walk by him. So if you have one, ask him.
Alright.
Because I don't.
Did
The dude was
you
handing out
get that
invitations.
So he handed out invitations. Okay.
he's the
Did
only
you-
one who handed out invitations except for Ashley and Hayden's group.
Well, the problem is
Did
with
you-
the amount of people here, why would
It's
he
not-
remember exactly everybody?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Do
we
you
could ask for.
recall giving an invitation to, and I described the vampire?
Francis looks at the guy.
He actually starts appearing kind of shifty at that, and Francis, your ears start burning, and I would personally suggest you stop laughing at that, because the rest of your team do not know what this means. They think you're just crazy. When he's like, no, what? Who's that?
I'm describing them. I'm not calling them a vampire. I'm describing their appearance.
Well, yeah, but as you describe the appearance, he's doing the standard sort of, I'm not looking at you, as I'm blatantly not answering that question in the way you wanted to. No, why would I be giving random?
His eyes have recognition, but his body language is like trying to hide it.
Yeah, that's basically what Francis is getting off of it.
Sure. Jenkins, this is really important. In fact, it's above your pay grade. It doesn't matter why you gave this person a ticket or what you thought they were going to do with it. Like, we just need to know as much about them as possible. You're not going to get in trouble.
He looks at you with that kind of canted head, like, yeah, I've heard that line a million times, and it's been true, none of them.
All right.
We could do-
USV Miranda hasn't happened yet. All right, boys. Grab him, torture him, get the information. It's 1920s, they're barely laws.
Yeah, he kind of just looks around the assembled group, who are all totally present, being like, what do you mean torture? What are you on about? As a couple of the guards do kind of like look around like, what the fuck is going on?
Francis
Guards
looks
here.
at.
Yeah, there's a couple security personnel on this site. You know, I mean, there's a lot of money rubbing together here. So you know, there's security all over the place. Although you can kind of tell that they have been briefed about your group being there, because there's a couple of them that look like they want to come over and start trying to throw their weight around. You're, oh, what's all this then? But clearly they're like, hold on, we were told about some psycho in an orange suit that we shouldn't be messing with. And
Yeah.
the other people that are in very high-end attire here that stick out like sore fucking thumbs, leave them the fuck alone. And
Yeah,
we were
you know
told
what-
that by our boss.
We are not paid enough to fuck with these guys.
Yeah, as I said, there's a few looks that are like, this is not worth my paycheck.
Ashley sighs and says, why don't you get one of your other butlers to take care of the list while we talk with you?
Yeah, it's just a nice little friendly chat amongst friends.
Agent Orange is currently like looking around, sizing up various tools that can be used for beating,
Yeah,
like
he
taking
kind
a few
of,
practice swings with a nearby stick.
yeah, he notices that and it's just like, does the very audible gulping, like, oh shit.
Look, we have
Hand-
permission by
hand the book
Harrison,
off.
so we need to talk to you. Now.
He hands the book off to one of the other guys that was there with him, like directing people. He's, okay, and he kind of glances around the note. There's a couple of the carriages nearby, so he's like, okay, we can talk over here. Because unfortunately, you're effectively in a field that's got like planks put out for like parking spaces, essentially. So
Yes,
there's
you've got-
no,
you-
there's no actual building. So he's just like, we've got a small space there that's semi-private. Okay, let's have a quick chat. And heads
One
over.
cloud of dust later.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take off my tie and start balling it up.
fair enough. He goes over to next to one of the carriages sitting there, and it's like, okay, what did he do?
Do you even know why everything went to hell in a handbasket today?
No, why would I?
Okay, there's a reason
Is he
why
like-
everything is been happened
He
so.
stole something. He stole
crazy.
something from your boss. It was very valuable.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you need to know. So we need to know, and we have more than enough reason to believe he was not working alone.
And killed at least 4 people.
Yeah, he's in the process of like sort of just doing that kind of looking down, like, oh, I knew this kind of shit was going to happen. And then as soon as you mentioned 4 people died, he immediately lifts his head like, whoa, whoa, whoa! I had nothing to do with anyone being killed. That I was only asked to ensure he got there.
By
Him
Alright.
and whoever the fuck else he was with. I was simply to allow those 2 over to the island.
So it was 2 of them.
Yeah. And
Okay, voices. Did we get a look at the other vampire?
unfortunately, no. You do
Okay.
know that you assume he did manage to get quite a dusting over the area. I mean, if you have a broom and a saucepan, you might be able to collect them up.
And a lot of time because it was raining.
Yeah.
That was my question. Like, did we
Yeah.
have a chance to see him before he
No,
got
you
dusted?
did not.
Okay. So but it was just the 2 of them.
That's what he's telling you, and yeah, for
I'm
the-
clarifying. I'm clarifying with the
Yeah, well, Francis is now asking just the 2 of them and looks for the response.
yeah, and he's nodding. Yeah, I was only asked to get 2 people past security because they needed to see Harrison about something important.
And who asked you to do this?
Oh god damn it! You're gonna make me look at my notes.
Yep.
'Cause
You don't have them open on principle?
I do.
We do
It's
have
kind of the most important thing you can get out of this.
Yeah, it's just remembering where exactly I wrote this
Yeah.
piece of information down.
I mean, you could
Lord,
be like me and just write everything out of order.
So
Some random guy.
Well, he informs you that he was called, right? He explains, look, I was called at home by a guy calling himself Grayson.
man, what a dick.
Now,
Dick Grayson, age 12.
yeah. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but I think, and he looks to the the description that was given. I think that's Grayson.
Wait,
The dead
so
one?
Grayson asked you to let himself and someone else come into the party.
He does that thing where he stares at the ground for a second, like eyes moving side to side, like yes,
Is he lying?
no. To the best of his knowledge, that this is true information.
Then they must
Like,
have.
And I'm assuming he paid. I'm assuming he paid you.
He gets a very shifty look, and he eventually is like, yeah. To
Is
which he
that
then,
the sole reason?
well, hold on. He then, slips a hand into his pocket and pulls out a bottle of very experimental, definitely if the FDA currently exists, not approved, pain medication. He's like, yeah, that's how I got this.
Stayed at your house.
Yeah, essentially, it's like Super Vicodin before Vicodin.
I mean, funnily enough, Hugh Laurie would play, I believe, actually Wooster in Jeeves and Wooster for a television series.
Yeah, that's why he's one of the title characters in a show that he's well known for.
Alright. Now, did he just approach you and ask for this? Like, how did this Mr. Grayson make your acquaintance?
Well, before tonight, I'm assuming that was him. I've never actually met him.
Okay, so he reached out to you in correspondence, sent you letters, etc.
He kind of sits back against the side because there's like the foot plate for stepping up into one of the carriages. He kind of slumps himself onto that, patting his leg with a noticeable kind of wince of pain, and he explains, "No, he didn't just approach me. I've given whatever group whenever I would get phone calls and give them information about Harrison, right? Because I work for one of the richest men in the world. So of course a lot of people are interested in that. I expected I'd probably get jumped by some goon and have the shit kicked out of me
You still might.
to try and steal all his money or something, right? I didn't expect to basically be offered these, right? And he, mentions the gestures to the painkillers for my leg, which I cannot get elsewhere. And all they wanted was, where is he? Something that if you wait 3 days, it'll be in the papers. And it does occur. He is one of those people who is well tracked in the media. His name appears all the time. If you're into the business and finance.
Sure. Well, wait. So all Grayson wanted to know was where this other guy was. Where your employer
wherever
was.
Harrison was. He wanted
Wherever
that.
Harrison was. He
Yeah,
just wanted
basically
that.
in real time.
Okay. When did he want you? When did bringing presumably Mr. Grayson and his accomplice to the island? When did that come up?
It's about 3 days ago.
And how did he reach out to you for that? Just say, hey, this time I need you to make sure somebody attends this. Somebody is able to attend this particular gala. Or
Pretty much.
masquerade, I think they were calling it, despite the fact that almost nobody was in a costume.
Hey, I explained.
In universe.
No,
In
yes,
universe.
he's saying that.
Nathaniel is pissed about that. Like,
yeah, 100%. I agree with you. He is agreeing with you as well, because he gestures towards the castle, that you can barely see outlined across the lake and everything. And he's like, I tried to explain to him what the definition of a masquerade is. He looked, smiled, flexed some money, and said, I know what I'm doing. And, well, he's the one that pays me, so fine.
I mean, I'm not blaming you. It's not your
he
fault.
actually does look a little bit annoyed because he wanted it to be a proper masquerade.
Yeah. I'm not blaming you. I know it wasn't your call to make. I just spent a lot of money on an outfit that went unappreciated.
You wore bright orange.
You say that there, Mr. Lake, but the butler does look across to Agent Orange and actually does mention it hasn't gone entirely unappreciated. It is spectacular.
Yeah, it certainly
Okay.
brightened up a lot of rooms.
All right. We have any more questions or?
No, I'm now assuming they must have had somebody on the inside, considering we still haven't found the necklace that was stolen.
That's fair.
No, I'm good. Well, I have one. So, you sure it was just... You had to make sure it was the two of them, and that they had to make it if they tried.
Oh.
Basically, yes. Yeah, I know exactly what that is. He was like, yeah. I got a call. As I say, I assume it was him. Basically, described what they were wearing, and it was a case of make sure they are allowed access.
Nah.
And then he's just kind of like, God damn it, I'm probably not going to get that morphine now.
Well, this drug he's taking. This is a question for the voices. This drug that he's taking, is it just morphine? Like,
It's one of those like highly
morphine addicts are
experimental.
not exactly in short supply.
Well, yeah, it's one. It is a form of morphine, but like it's one of those drugs similar to well, it's
a controlled substance.
Yeah, it's a controlled substance variant of morphine. Does the FDA exist in 1928?
It does. They have very little actual authority, though. I know this because I looked up all that stuff about radium.
Yeah.
Fair.
I mean, you could you could offer him some of your radium.
No, this guy complimented my Agent Orange outfit.
Yeah, he thinks you look absolutely fabulous.
He gets to live a little bit longer and not be irradiated. Got it.
I mean, can you really trust the man's opinion? All he does is get high on morphine and let in killers.
I mean, that is a valid concern.
What are your thoughts on L's duds?
Probably not much, considering they're completely wrecked.
Fair. No, I still ask the question though. Like, what are your thoughts on L's duds?
I mean, at least I brought a mask.
I actually forget offhand. What was it that Elle was wearing? I did have this written down somewhere as
Black
well.
and red.
Well, the red is basically like flower petals. Other than that, it's just black on black. Well, the ties. Oh no, the ties also got the red flower petals. It's basically every accent that is red is in the like shape of flower petals.
Yeah, he looks across as like. Unfortunately, the damage does detract. Although, in saying that, it does give a certain weathered appearance. Although, I do remember when you arrived. Very. What's the term? He kind of gestures his hand, like I honestly cannot think of what the term is. The French term is basically like it's not pseudo in your face, but does exude some quality. It's a certain je ne sais quoi. And that's not the phrase I'm looking for. But,
Je ne sais quoi would be the perfect phrase for this then.
yeah,
I don't know
exactly. Yeah.
Alright.
But yeah,
He seems to have a capable enough opinion. Anyway. Alright. If you... And I'm going to prepare a contact card. If you are ever approached by someone claiming to be Mr. Grayson again, try and contact me here.
He'll take the card and have a look at it. What does it have other than like a phone number? Is there any defining info?
Phone number and a mail drop-off. Keep in mind, that's not my address. That is a place I go to and check every so often to see if mail has been sent there.
Like a post office box, but it's an actual residence.
Yeah.
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 The
You could
family who
just
lives there
say-
has no idea why.
You could just say you're having your mail forwarded to Francis's.
I mean, that's also fair. He's literally never there. He sleeps and basically lives in his office.
Yeah, that's what makes it perfect.
Kate is
Yeah,
living there at
yeah,
the
that-
moment with Kara, I believe.
Oh, Car has
Oh,
no
no.
place.
Yeah, she literally has her own place. She works there.
Right.
Yeah,
She's everywhere.
it's funny because yeah, at that moment you actually do notice outlined in the ever so faintly raised lettering something that looks a lot like it says Mr. F. Lake and a very well-known address to you. Then
Man,
certainly-
is everybody using my house now?
It was originally one of his cards, and I've just altered it.
Oh, you know what? That's even better. Yeah.
But the answering machine hasn't even been invented yet. How is calling there going to help anybody?
No. The phone is to a different place.
Ah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's been written in on the other side of it. But yeah, he takes card and like, okay, yeah. I mean, if they call again, I'll let you know.
Alright.
Although,
Stay out of
honestly,
trouble and stay away from radium products.
He's looking over towards the castle, like, yeah, I've got a feeling they probably aren't going to call me again, though, but I'll keep it in mind. And then when you mention radium products, there's the immediate eyebrow raise, like, huh? What do you mean? That's safe. Surgeon General approved. Oh yes, I saw that short about the radium girls. That was messed up.
Just remember that I said that, and don't blame me if you don't listen.
Yeah, certain people's jaws start falling off soon. So yeah, he's kind of paranoid, but you know.
All right. So as we now make our exit.
Yeah, and like whatever vehicles you brought, I can't remember how you carpooled or whatever to the place, but you know your vehicles are safely parked up and everything.
Well, I was gonna ask everyone. All right. We have 2 leads. We can try and crash Calvin Coolidge's private residence, or we can investigate the at least breaking and entering at the professor's.
Well, one of those places is closer than the other.
That's fair. I don't recall which it is offhand, but
That would be the
Place
professor's.
That's in the city.
all right. I recommend we go there first then. But I also think we should try and stick together on this one. If there is another Dracula, we want to fight them as a group.
Yes, because some of us still have harm, I believe. I don't think any of us have had time to heal.
Got it. I will hold Francis as a meat shield.
That sounds like an awesome idea. I am all for this.
I do want to head back to my place and gear up, though, before we proceed.
Yep. I will make a quick jaunt back to the school. Actually, you know what? No, I'll just
You
use
gotta-
my extra padded jacket.
So you're going to go back to the school so you can arm up with your guns?
No. He's got his revolver.
I mean, I am. It's in my car, but my car's at the school.
Francis just pistol whips his trunk and pulls out his extra jacket.
Again, yeah, this is 1927. Just hand out guns to the students. Nobody cares.
You know, I'm laughing, but you're not wrong.
You have been conscripted to fight in a dark war.
Alright. Then also, I keep most of my guns in my paddy wagon, but
Didn't you
I
bring
will-
your Tommy gun with you?
Oh,
no, not to the party. I can't conceal that one at all. Like there's no logical way to conceal the Tommy gun. I'm just debating if I want to go for the Tommy gun or for the rifle. If we're going inside, the Tommy gun.
Alright. Well, to be fair, you can be adequately armed. So your intention is go back, get your stuff, and go to the apartment. Yes?
Also, change
Yeah.
out of the Agent Orange outfit.
Alright. So yeah, you're able
I'm wearing my
to
wet work clothes.
yeah. The big thing here is getting my armor. The weapon, I'm like, about, because, like, yes, it's plus 1 harm, but minus 1 harm is much of a big deal. But they're in the same spot, so, like,
yeah, you're able to get back into town, you know, relatively fine and everything. You know, there's a few potholes on the road. That's about it. That's as interesting as the drive back happens to be. And yeah, you're able to get your gear and everything and head over to the apartment, which is in a not exactly well built up area. You know, it's not like a high class area, but it's a little bit above sort of the middle class kind of areas. An apartment on the ground floor of a relatively new block that's been built probably about 15 years ago, so it's still in pretty good condition. And I just need to double check a thing here.
alright, well, we go inside. Time for some trespassing.
You say that like it's the worst thing we've done so far.
And maybe. I mean, you don't know. This is an alternate universe. Trespassing might be punishable by death.
Also,
You
do
just
the
had-
laws
you
apply
just
to
had-
It's
supernatural beings?
1920s. Trespassing might be punishable by death.
Well, look, at least you're not 4 ruffians breaking in, alright? And this guy doesn't have stairs, so you don't have to worry about a cannon at the top.
So wait, is
No, we just have to worry about the petard
is this an
attached to the
apartment or
door.
is this a townhouse?
It's a big apartment.
Okay.
because it's all on one floor.
Because
So-
I couldn't be bothered to make a second floor. Sorry, guys.
It's okay. Curious. Oh, he's got stairs leading up. Is that just like leading up to the roof, or
Yes, it's leading up to the roof.
Okay.
Like a rooftop balcony or something.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah, no worries, no worries, no worries.
Okay. We're arriving at the, I'm assuming, the front entrance.
Yeah, down here.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Now,
you're able to
just
walk
to
into
remind
the
myself,
building.
this is the person who had started translating the Sumerian that was on the necklace.
Yes.
Trying to remember the context.
Yeah. Yeah, the context that you were given is this is the address of the doctor who has only been mentioned as my guy in archaeology, which Francis does remember that recently there was a somewhat questionable doctor at MIT who specialized in various archaeological pursuits, including translation of old languages, who was
we ever
fired
get-
recently.
Did we ever get the name?
Not currently, but funnily
Is
enough,
there like a directory or something for
well,
the?
I was literally
Francis
about to
literally
mention-
looks on the door.
Yeah,
I was
that's
literally about to mention that yes, as soon as you walk up to the door, you do see that where you would normally have a little plaque with the door number, there's a little tag has been inserted into that, which has the name Dr. Julian Sheary written on it.
Julian Sheary.
Yeah, and it's with 2 E's.
Is he a redhead? Are there acoustic guitars in there?
No.
He said Shiri, not Sheeran.
Names change over decades.
Yeah, I mean, I still got the joke. That's the important thing.
So did I.
There's like
Well,
an
yeah,
80% chance Ed Sheeran is not his birth name. Everybody famous changes their names.
I know, so his original name could be Shiri.
That's true. All right. Let's. Is the door open?
When you reach out and twirl the knob, no, it is locked.
Well, no, I wasn't
Also-
asking if it was. I was asking if it was open or closed, but it is
Oh,
closed.
yeah, the door's closed. And yes, when you check, it's locked. And also, just in point of fact, shockingly, Edward Christopher Sheeran is his name.
Really? All right.
Really.
In that case, give a loud, like, declarative knock on the door, and then listen intently.
Unfortunately, it's basically silence, other than you think you can maybe hear like the dull ticking of a couple clocks within the apartment. That's
So
the
it's basically
only
silent
sound-
as the grave.
pretty much. Other than you
is
can hear some sounds from other apartments of like people walking around, doors opening and closing.
Damn it, Francis! What did you do to me? I'm giant
this-
again.
Is this thing up in the northwest stairs down to a basement or a back door?
The roof.
Are you talking about this thing here?
Yes.
I'm assuming that what that is like a kind of bay window type
It's
thing.
a bay window.
All right, yeah, we'll go with that. It's a bay window.
All right. Well, I'll circle back and see if that's broken in. Because the place was tossed. It wouldn't be kind enough to leave the door intact.
That's fair. Didn't what's his face say that the place looked tossed, like he saw blood on the ground?
Well, he was informing you of what his security guys had found.
Okay.
And it
All
doubt
right,
they would have
yeah.
repaired the door out of conscientiousness.
Give a louder knock and say, "This is the police. Open up."
It's still
I can't
silent.
listen.
Yeah.
Is that back
And,
door kicked in?
No,
Broken in or whatever.
no, that's the thing. When you head out, because we're just going to say there is a small sort of landing area that connects to other apartments in the block, instead of the grassy garden outside. Yeah, when you walk around, you are immediately noticing the fact that there does not appear to be forced entry on either of the two windows into the apartment.
All right. I'll head around the front to the others.
All right,
Well, I
it's
guess-
1927. I don't need a warrant.
I guess he knew.
It's 1928. It's New Year's Day.
Not
I
quite.
smacked them both.
Yeah, and if it was New Year's Day 1928, it means you've time traveled almost a full year back in time. It's currently the end of 1928.
Oh.
Yeah,
It's
we're
been
not
that way
quite
for
into the-
quite some time now.
Yeah, we're not quite into the new year for 29 yet. That's next time. Don't worry about it. We have the calendar set out. Don't worry.
All right,
I
I'm
think
about to kick on the door. Then I'm like, wait, does anyone know how to pick locks?
I look
I
at
think
look at Vinny.
Francis backs up.
Does Vinny know how to pick locks?
I don't know if there's a mechanical skill, but
Professionally, I would think so, but I don't know what skill you would apply to it.
Sharp.
Yeah, but
It's,
I mean,
it's either
not
sharp
cool.
or act under pressure potentially. Or I suppose it could be cool.
is the price of failure more than just the lock doesn't get open?
No. The price of failure is the door remains locked.
Have
So-
we checked to make sure it was locked?
We did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
Oh.
I did say that.
Then I missed it. Okay.
I can give it a try. Sharp, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you get that open like it is your bitch.
Yeah, you
Click
yeah,
it
you
open
got-
real good now.
you got that moment of like kneeling down, pulling out the little roll of tools, picking through everything, and like, should I actually use a number 2 or a number 3?
Huh, and here I thought
You
I
know
like to
what?
use
Screw it.
underhidden.
Screw it, we'll go with a number 4 just to be safe.
In fact, you
Hey,
open
when
that
Literally
so
about
much.
3 seconds. Yeah, there's literally 3 seconds of clicking into the lock, and then the entire thing just twists around. It was really not a good quality lock. You're
Huh,
actually.
and I thought I
slightly
dealt in
offended.
unconventional activity.
Well, I mean, to be fair, as a PI, he would have these skills
Okay,
to the point where Vinny is actually offended by just how crappy this lock is.
That's the thing. Like Nathaniel, Nathaniel, yeah, works for the soon equivalent of the FBI. He's used to kicking down doors.
Okay,
Yeah.
because of the fact that you rolled that
Wow.
so well, you no longer have to do normal lock picking ever again unless it's a really severe lock.
You'll just automatically succeed.
Automatic succeed.
Okay. Cool.
And you can put that on your sheet. Only Vinny has that ability. Not all of you.
See, here's the thing, right? You say that as if it's only him that has to write on his sheet. I have to write it on my sheet as well.
Yeah, true. Alright. So, the door is open.
Do we see? All right. So, I'm going to assume that unless you say otherwise, we see what's on the map. So,
Yeah.
should we
I mean,
see anything that is different than what is on the map? Let us know.
Well, there are some differences because, yeah, as soon as you open the door, you see exactly what you expected to see, which is the apartment here tossed. The table is sitting at an angle because one of the legs has been broken off, so of course everything on the table has now been scattered to the side onto let me mark it real quick here. Into like this area here. So this is now just a mass of broken cutlery, place settings, and also what kind of looks like a lot of documents have been kind of spread out that may have been initially, spread across the table and everything, and are now scattered in that kind of area.
All right. Let's search this place room by room. Look for survivors or bodies.
Well, that's the thing. Who's sniffing the air when they walk into this place?
Francis immediately.
Nathaniel isn't a mouth breather.
Right, well, yeah, as soon as you head in, you immediately get the Bad Boys 2 moment of, like, sniffing the air, looking at each other, and immediately at the same time saying, dead guy.
Oh god, it smells like death in here. Who would have thunk?
Yeah, and then you hear a thunk of a giant scythe being placed down, and a booming voice saying hi.
We see a 7-foot-tall skeleton in black with blue eyes.
Hi, Frank.
Anthropomorphic personification, thanks very much, as he climbs out the window and leaves the scene. Without disturbing the curtains, because that was the other thing I meant to mention, is that the curtains at the windows had been, like, kind of hastily drawn, and unfortunately you weren't really able to see anything through that.
Let's see if we can locate where the body is.
Well, it's very easy to determine that, because as you walk in, the place is in relative darkness, because the lack of windows and those that are there have the curtains drawn. You do spot what looks like a couple bloody partial footprints leaving the door on the right as soon as you walk in.
All right.
And as you close in, the thickly sweet smell of death
Photography
gets slightly
definitely
stronger.
exists. Can I have a camera?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't.
Okay. Keeping in mind that this is not a Polaroid, I'm not gonna get this is a actual camera. I can take maybe 3 photos with it before I run out of film, and they will have to be developed in a dark room later.
Yeah, instant development won't be invented for like 3 more years, I believe.
I know exactly what type of camera you're talking about, and yes, those do exist.
Okay, so I'm going to carefully take a, first go up, if that's the body there. Basically, the whole reason we'd like to get a photograph of that bloody shoe print.
Are you opening the door prior to this?
Now, there is one thing about the camera you would not be able to do. You're not able to do any type of color.
Oh, yeah.
The door already?
Yeah, that we
They opened the door.
walked in, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about this door.
I was saying we should be searching, looking for the body. So,
Well, we follow the blood.
Yeah, so
be careful. Like, don't step on the blood. Don't leave your own footprints.
Yeah,
I've got this radical new theory of evidence-based investigation. I want to try it out.
Tiptoe through the tulips.
Evidence?
Evidence-based investigation? You mean like Sherlock Holmes does?
I'm imagining that.
Holmes works mostly more through deduction than in evidence. But
Well, I mean, it's deduction based on evidence, but irrespective. Point is, I'm now picturing there's a Francis-shaped dent in the wall where he's been whacked. so yes, as you head over and you see the footprints and everything, yeah, you give the door a nudge, because you can see that it hasn't been fully closed. It's just like partially sitting there. So as you give the door a slight nudge, it swings open, and yeah, on the couch there is, if I'm on the right drawing tool, yeah, we've got a little stick man who happens to be dead. We'll just say that those X's are his eyes. He's got X's over his eyes. He's lying there, tongue hanging out.
His eyes have in fact been gouged out and are put over his head.
what's he wearing?
Dude, you can't ask that question.
Yeah, the clothing that you can tell, he has one very nice Oxford, not brogue, shoe on the left foot. You don't quite know where the right foot is, but there is some tattered cloth there that might possibly lead to it later. there's a whole pile of blood, and there's parts of a ripped shirt that he was wearing. It kind of looks like he was probably wearing the sort of standard light grey sort of work pants and a shirt with his nice shoes that he seems to be missing one.
Does he have a noticeable chunk missing from his neck?
No,
Damn.
but that's because there are several sizable gouges across where his skin is showing from where the shirt has been ripped open. He also appears to be missing 3 fingers.
All right. Noticing all of this, first, just very quickly, check the remaining shoe. Does it have the same tread as that shoe print in the hallway, the one in the blood?
No.
I
Wait,
will then,
have
at some
cursory
point,
glance,
get a
you can
photograph
really-
of that shoe print.
I'm thinking about it because shoes from that time period just tended to have flat leather soles, didn't they?
Not
Usually
all
would.
of them. Some of them did have some creases on the bottom of the sole to help with
Yeah.
the fact that they
Yeah.
do not want to slide everywhere. So,
There's also the fact that as a shoe gets used, like it's gonna pick up individual nicks, scratches, small amounts of damage, scuffs, rocks caught inside of it, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
this
that's fair.
is the thing. You've seen enough shoe prints and that yeah, you could clearly see looking at the outline and the blood on the ground and his shoe. It was clearly some kind of. It appears to be some kind of boot that was used because it was being worn by whoever made the prints. And they're also at least 2 sizes bigger than this guy's shoe.
Gotcha. All right. Once I have that picture, I'll look at Vinny and I'll ask him, are you able to determine anything as far as cause of death goes?
Okay. Back
There's-
over it. Go back over it and like looking for any specific evidence as far as.
Well, there's one tiny little immaterial detail that suggests it might be important, and that's the fact that all his blood is on the floor.
There's an abnormal amount of blood on the floor, even for somebody who has been, quite viciously maimed.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm assuming this would be like a read a bad situation because what I'm going for with this is looking at the blood as far as does it look like the actual body itself is bloodless, or does it just look like a severe enough wound that it just bled out naturally because of the heart?
Well, that would actually be something to roll that on, I think.
I would say read a bad situation, please.
Read a bad situation is like when you are in a bad situation, like you're about to get fucked up. Because if you look at the questions that come from read bad situations,
Oh,
it's like
that's
the
right.
victims.
Yeah.
So in this case, maybe I investigate a mystery.
There you go.
Yes. Yeah, that would be your thing.
It's almost like the roles are a little ambiguous.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so you get 2 holds on that.
Vinny is making this day his bitch.
Yeah, on a 10 or higher, I can ask 2 general questions or 1 specific.
Yes.
On this one, the general questions is the body itself, does it look like it's bloodless from a severe enough wound to where the heart would have pumped the blood out as it died, or is it there's 2 questions. So let me start with that question first.
Well, in terms of that question, you kind of think back to that one very visceral scene that has been a cause for tensions between yourself and Elle in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of occurs to you, this is clearly more than natural bleed out. like the position of the body and the position of the wounds based on where a lot of the blood pool is doesn't really appear consistent. Like this looks like this was deliberate in terms of I am going to take the blood out of your body.
If you look
Now-
here, if you
Sorry,
look
go ahead.
here, if you look over here, you can see the wound was unspecific. However, the heart would have pushed blood to a specific point, like to here, and you would have had this type of pooling of blood. But in this particular case, it looks like there was more blood either forced from the body, whether through some type of maybe concussive force or through some other means. But there is ejection of blood. Yeah, there was an ejection of blood supply from the body. Right up in here and here.
Well, yeah. Safe to say, and this is a question addressed at Vinny. Safe to say, looks like Dracula related.
Possibly. I mean, admittedly, I'm going purely off the fiction and what you guys told me, what you experienced.
All right. Does anyone here know a lot about Draculas?
The room collectively looks at Francis.
No, I'm not in the room with them.
Do we have a Francis here?
I guess not.
Is Francis
Francis has kind of just been giving them a wide berth, because this is a guy who walks around with a cane. He is not a very careful person.
Well, I mean, he should be if he walks around with a cane. And he was also told by a government agent to be careful.
The question has been given to you. What do you know about vampires?
No, it wasn't what do you know about vampires. It was just, do you know a lot about Draculas?
Only what I've read.
All right. Do you know how more Draculas are made? Do we have to worry about this guy rising up?
How long does it look like this body's been dead for?
You'd
Like, is there
wager-
noticeable flies and decay in the air?
Not quite, but it's not far off. So you would wager based on, temperatures and stuff. Probably about... It's been over a day, probably around about 2.
I'd say it's not out of the question.
All right. Just to
But
be on
I
the
don't
safe
think
side.
I don't think they were trying to raise him.
All right,
Just in
do you
case,
have your
though.
sword?
Yeah, he taps his cane on the ground and the sword pops out.
Okay. Please decapitate the corpse.
Yes, desecration of a corpse. Just what I wanted to do today.
It is a day that ends in Y.
Exactly. That's important. You got to follow the rules.
Only on days that end in Y's.
This is surprisingly not the most illegal thing Francis has ever done.
Preventing it from coming back as a Dracula? I should hope not.
No, desecrating a corpse, that is in fact illegal.
I would argue rising as a Dracula would be a worse form of desecration.
I mean,
Also be a lot harder to explain.
That is a valid point.
As he just brings the blade down on the guy's neck. And now I'm going to have to get blood off of my cane and my suit. If there's any left.
Yeah, when you go for the chop,
The coup de grace.
yeah, there is a because of shifting in the body.
If he like at that exact moment his eyes open up, he gasps and he's like, "Oh, thank God I survived."
Yeah, it's exactly that. He goes to reach out with his missing foot because he's one of those weirdos, and then nah. The very moment you do that,
What is this, an episode of Futurama?
yeah, the very moment you go for that, you sort of manage to nick the collar in the process, that kind of throws the swing slightly off and end up with, yeah, probably like a cup of blood kind of gets splattered on your jacket in a very questionable pattern that makes it look like you might have just, gotten hit with arterial spray.
Well, that's interesting.
Or at least that's what
You would
other
think that
people
I
looking
thought
at
he was
it.
out of blood.
There's a few little bits left, and Francis managed to get one splattered on him.
Because Francis is just that kind of lucky.
Or unlucky.
Alright. Al, you inside yet?
El's been off in another room.
Alright. Find anything?
No
You found a
idea.
body.
Okay, you know what? When I first looked at that room, I thought that was a bathroom.
I'm going to be super annoying to the GMs. There is neither a bathroom nor bedroom in this map.
I noticed.
Yeah, I'm kind of aware of that.
I noticed too
You pee
late.
outside and sleep on the floor.
Pretty much. Yeah.
I mean, he is a professor.
Look, we'll just say it's upstairs if we don't have it. It works.
But upstairs is the
But-
roof.
Yeah, exactly. Upstairs is the roof and also the second floor of apartments.
Wait. No, it's perfect. No bedroom, no bathroom. Oh no, there's a kitchen. I was gonna say, he was always a vampire, but no. Vampire wouldn't have a kitchen.
You sure?
No, they'd have a bathroom to clean off all the blood.
Exactly.
Nah, they just go to the laundromat. They'll say it's cranberry juice.
What laundromat? 1920s. There is no laundromat.
Hasn't that been invented yet?
Are there
there's
washing
definitely
machines?
places- There's got to be ways to. They're legitimate. There have to be ways to wash clothes. I don't know offhand, but like.
Yeah, it's called fucking rinse them by hand, rub them by hand, hang them on a line.
A lot of places,
but in, like,
even
the
back
city.
then, actually had outhouses, guys.
I know, but we're in a city.
The bathroom isn't the concern. There's
Yeah,
ways for that to be handled.
The point is, this guy doesn't have a garage. He actually has a bedroom and a bathroom that are currently disguised to look like a garage.
Okay, fair enough. He just has a.
Yeah, unfortunately, when you end
Okay,
up in
I'm
those rooms-
sorry.
See,
He
when,
shits where he
when you
spits
end
out.
up, when you end up in the bedroom, bathroom area, you find that these rooms are completely boring and not worth your time. They are basically barren. He lives like a modern 20-somethings who has a PlayStation 4 hooked up to a TV on the wall and a single chair. That's
take that.
essentially it.
That's all you
No.
need.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I-
what is this weird plasticky device, and what's plastic?
Nope, I'm taking that thing. Like, that's fine.
I mean, plastic
From
does
the-
exist.
Yeah, from the who said it? Yeah, this place has obviously been tossed. There's papers everywhere.
Yeah, like, I'm leaving the body to them. I'm looking for whatever they were looking for. Because, first off, I tried to say this, got talked over like 6 times. He knew whoever the fuck killed him. Because he let him in. Because they didn't break in. They tortured him. That's why he's missing fingers and a foot. So they were looking for something. That's what I'm trying to find.
Someone was picking up what I was putting down.
Yeah.
I don't care about the
I
dead
mean-
body. He's dead. I can't do anything about that.
Yeah.
So
So
I just
yeah,
don't want
when
there
you-
to be more Draculas.
If he was going to rise, he'd have done it already.
I mean, that was my opinion on it.
yeah, but you didn't
But-
articulate that opinion quite well.
Francis wasn't going to argue with the.
You left a lot
the
of
federal
you
agent.
left a lot of like maybes and probablys.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, there is that thing where somebody who has actually been intentionally turned, according to most of the lore that would exist at this time that you would be aware of, it would have happened by now if it was gone.
Yeah,
Because
especially
there's also
considering how
that
long.
thing. Yeah, the fact that you smelled the body as soon as you walked in, it tells you roughly
Yeah.
2 days.
Also,
You would expect most books tend to be like they were bitten and within 1 day of that returned as a vampire.
the other thing is, if they wanted this guy to return, they wouldn't have gimped him.
Yeah.
Also, that.
Also fair.
I mean, Mina
So-
Harker was basically near comatose over a week.
That's
it a couple months? One of the
Very.
two.
That was a very specific case. the exception that proves the rule with the like 5 or 6 other people that were turned in the book.
Good point.
Sorry, I'm missing what book you're talking about.
Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Oh right, yeah. I've never actually read the book. I have listened to part of the audio drama and also watched the film recently.
Yeah, fun
Yeah,
fact:
because-
Dracula
because
has
we were
pointy
getting into
ears.
vampires. Yeah.
Yeah, Dracula is a knife ear freak.
Yes, that's part of the reason why he wears long hair. Doesn't let people see him without hats or hoods.
Yeah.
You may be thinking, if you're talking about the most recent movie, you're thinking of Nosferatu.
No, it's literally described in the book.
Yeah.
If you want, I can go get my
Gary
copy and read the passage.
Yeah, I mean,
No.
it's why in the film Gary Oldman has long hair.
Okay, you are in fact talking about the Gary Oldman film. Okay.
Yes.
Mm,
Want to make
Yeah,
sure
I'm
you're not
also
thinking
talking about the book.
the very recent.
Yeah.
I was addressing one
actually
of the
seen it yet.
voices, sir.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I haven't actually gotten around to seeing Nosferatu yet. The new one. Like I've seen the old.
It's not great.
It's
You
an
know,
experience.
I'm prepared to watch a relatively crappy film. You know, because it kills a couple hours. You know.
I mean, that's why I watched it.
I'm prepared for that. So anyway, yeah, when you Elle heads into this other room, you find a small, you've got this like armoire type thingy on the side there. As you start rifling through the drawers and everything, you find that like there's clothing and such like in there, but then as you pull open the bottom drawer, it immediately occurs to you there's 2 shirts, and the base of that drawer seems a little bit too high. And shifting the shirts out to the side and dragging the drawer out, you do notice there's a very small like dip in the back corner where you're able to lift the base of it, and inside there you find a couple kind of old looking journals.
One of them says Death Note on the cover.
No, it actually says "Abandon hope all ye who enter here," and it's actually it's a signed copy of the Divine Comedy. No, it's not. It's a leather-bound journal that has seen quite a lot of use. It's very frayed, and there was something embossed on the front, but over the years it's basically been wiped away. And opening it up, you find there's an absolute treasure trove of translation notes, various passages, and what kind of looks. You notice there's a couple of symbols that sort of match what you remember seeing on that you were just able to make out on the picture of the medallion that Harrison had.
You see a note there that says could mean grand entrance, could mean bathtub, depending on the context.
Well, no, it's that translation note that states vomitorium is where people throw up. Like the general gist is this looks like it's important, though unfortunately because you can't quite place it. Because I mean, let's face it, of all the characters, Elle is definitely the one most likely to be able to actually read ancient Sumerian. It looks like it's potentially the same language, but you can't quite understand what's there. It's one of those things that as you're trying to like place, I think this symbol means sheep, that symbol means cliff, and the headache's coming back.
Well, take those and continue searching.
Yeah,
The fact
the
that
red.
this was left indicates. Well, we'll see.
Well, has this room been tossed?
Yes, because as soon as you open the drawers, it looks like someone pulled the drawer open, like kind of shifted things about, and then on not immediately finding something.
Oh, that's right. It was hidden.
Them
Yeah.
back shut.
Yeah.
Yeah. Essentially it's either luck or the person being an idiot that they didn't notice that the base was slightly higher. There were less shirts in there than there should have been.
It'd be the second one. They weren't taking their time.
Pretty much.
Assuming I don't find anything else in here, I will head into the cleverly disguised bedroom bathroom.
Yeah, as I say, other than
Oh, wait, no, you said there's nothing in there. Yeah, okay, never mind.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
already covered that.
other than the free PS4 that you're now
yeah.
walking around holding underarm.
Yeah. You already said there's nothing
What
there.
won't be useful for about
What the
120 years,
fuck?
but
Hey, there's
Hey,
one
hey,
game
good
in it
for all.
and electricity. Take
Exactly.
the TV too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go search this curio cabinet. Because why the fuck would something be in the dining table?
Well, I mean, the general thing with the dining table stuff scattered about is there's a lot of old-looking documents and stuff. Though.
yeah, but Francis has now left the corpse room.
I am operating under the assumption that any part of the room that looks like it has been torn apart, they didn't find what they were looking for, because that's why they tortured the man.
Yeah.
I mean, we could say
Yeah, but-
one thing: guy's got integrity, or had integrity.
Oh, maybe he just didn't know.
I mean, those are all valid assumptions.
I'm not making any assumptions, except for the one.
Yeah, which is the
He didn't tell them what they wanted, so they tortured him. So maybe he did tell them what they wanted, and these weren't what they were looking for.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it?
These
So
ones
yeah,
not-
when you head over to the curio cabinet, yeah, you find that there are a bunch of curios, and unfortunately, a lot of them look like they've been damaged recently. There's a couple of them have actually been taken out and like smashed on the floor. It looks to be a collection of like stuff that you would normally just assume would be like random bits and pieces, but like knowing this guy had an interest in archaeology, the random collection seems to, it makes more sense because of that. This seems like a sort of souvenir cabinet, essentially, of stuff that he's acquired during various digs and everything. They all seem to have some kind of Egyptian-esque. I don't quite know the full proper term for that area, because I know that if you say Egyptians are Middle Eastern, they get pissy about it, but then they also get pissy if you say that they're African. So they're Egyptian-y kind of stuff. Plus, at this time, there were a lot of archaeological digs going on in Egypt, so it makes sense that there's some small jars that you're pretty sure are supposed to hold like the probably now powder that used to be some a mummy's heart, for instance. Maybe there's one of them that includes a
Synoptic
spleen.
jars.
Yes, there's one that you open it, you have a look in, you think that dust might have been a spleen, and unfortunately there's no explanation as to what the spleen's for, so you just gotta put the lid back on it, put it back on. Like, no one knows what the spleen's for, it's weird.
It's such a superfluous organ.
Yes, we should just inflate them and use them for volleyball.
Okay. Assuming I like don't
I
find
don't know
any.
why, I've always loved that joke.
If I don't find any like latches on the shelf or anything or any of that, I'm going to grab the corner and like swing the curio out a little bit, see if there's anything like taped on the back.
Well, it's a good thing you did that. Because, yeah, but when you pull it back, you find that there's a piece of paper has been like stapled in place. And as soon as you pull the corner of one piece down, you see there's a bunch of other pieces of paper like stuck to the back they've been slipped in behind that larger piece. And when you pull a couple of them out, they have matching symbols. And there's one of the pieces that when you pull it out and have a look at it, it appears to have an alphabet written out of sequence, with some lines being drawn between some of the symbols and letters of the English alphabet that are written there.
All right, I found a cipher.
Ah, yes, Klatos Parada necktie. Got it.
No.
No,
Oh.
actually, it's a Caesar cipher. Still there.
Yeah. So I'll let these guys continue their work on the body. I'm gonna clear up a small space on the table, and see if the cipher has anything that lines up with the journals I found.
The table is on the ground, notably, because it's missing a leg.
That's fine. All right, fine. The kitchen island, the kitchen table.
Better.
Yeah, when you go in the kitchen, it's kind of weird that the kitchen looks like it has been untouched, other than some of the cabinet doors have been opened and left.
Actually, you know what? That's a good thought. I will still put the notebooks in the cipher down. Well, slip the cipher into the cover of one of the journals so it doesn't fly everywhere. And just do a glance around, or not a glance, just do a quick thorough search. Oh, I can't do quick and thorough. A quick search around the kitchen, like back of the fridge, back of some of the heavier items, like slip their hand behind the sink.
Francis checks in the flour jar.
If you find a green herb, would have been really helpful if they had time to get to it.
Yeah. Yeah, while you're raking through one of the cabinets, you move some of the bowls. Turns out there's a red herb there as well. It's like, damn man, if only you got here and were able to combine items, you would have been fine. But
well,
oh well.
Damn. If I find both a green and a red, I'm gonna go combine those, use them myself, get rid of this 5 harm.
Yeah, you're able to take them both, like, you know, clip them up and everything, mash them together in a little mortar and pestle that you find, and then when you go to eat it, you're like, oh, this tastes fucking disgusting.
But I feel great.
I mean, I mean, the funny thing is, a mortar and pestle would still be common kitchen fare back then.
Dude, I have a mortar and pestle. Yeah, when you you know, look through the stuff, the cupboards are kind of barren.
Yeah, I'm
Like
not.
it's clear. Yeah, the guy doesn't really do a lot of cooking and stuff, so there's not a ton to move. So you are actually able to do a fairly thorough search of the cupboards fairly quickly, on account of there's maybe 3 or 4 things per cupboard that you just have to shunt out the way. I'm like, oh look, you got a tin of peas. Huh, interesting. Put that back.
Yeah,
You know, move on to the next one.
the cupboards
You
really aren't
check
what
the
I'm
milk; it's
checking.
3 days out of date.
I'm more concerned with like harder to get to areas like behind the fridge, behind an oven, under the sink, things like that. Because like if it was something just kind of hidden in one of these barren cabinets, like after you open the second one, would be like, okay, if there was actually something in these cabinets, they'd have found it.
Yeah, that's the immediate thing. And yeah, other than a few little scraps of food and the occasional spider, there's basically nothing of note hidden behind any spots.
Just for a laugh, I'll check the garbage. Like
The garbage contains garbage. You
I mean,
stick your hand in there and find a
No.
magic mannequin.
No. What I'm gonna pull out the bag and check under it.
Well, when you pull the bag out, you are shocked and appalled
If I know, that's fine.
by the giant cockroach that's in there.
Okay,
al-
buddy
and
can
also
say.
the-
I put the bag back.
Yeah, the bag's kind of stanky as well.
I
You
don't live
immediately
there.
you're immediately overcome by the desire to go over to the sink and wash your hands, because
That's fine. That's fine. But yeah, like fighting nothing. Assuming these guys aren't done, like I'll go in instead and like say like I found some journals and a cipher. And just see if I can put these together and find something.
Well, that's good news at
Okay,
any
good
rate.
talk.
Well, that's good news at any rate. We desecrated a corpse.
Okay.
Thus, it is a good day.
Okay, you know what? I'm not gonna do this here. I was gonna exit the apartment.
Fair, yeah. You're able to easily make your way out, and you go sit.
Because
you go
now
sit
it
in
looks
the
like they
car.
killed this guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a fair question. Okay, do we have anyone we can call to just like, have this body disposed of, or do we
You
want to
probably
like
do.
have the police possibly stumble into vampires?
I am in favor of calling the police because if this actually mattered, they'd either still. I don't think this is going to like if the police show up. I don't think the vampires are going to go full on like we're going to take out an entire police Precinct.
Squadron.
Precinct.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm
fair.
talking about it more from the sense of like, if the police look into this and there's something that we missed, and that leads them to the existence of vampires.
They'll probably just think it's some kind of crazy ass cult.
All right. Let's take a few minutes to make sure that we left no evidence of our own presence.
That is far too late.
We can wipe things
Yeah,
down.
Well, boy agent, call your
Wipe
men.
things down. We can hide our own footprints. We can do. There are things we can do.
Yeah, well,
Actually, I am
boy,
not.
call your boys.
I'm actually not going to enter that room or go out the front door. I actually am just going to exit out this bay window and then close it.
Yeah, easy enough. Yeah, it's literally just that case of pull the curtain back, step into the area, undo a single latch, window opens, and you step out.
And then I'll close it, give it like a little bit of force so the latch will like crank down on its own. Not enough, but enough that like anybody looking through it would be like, yeah, this wasn't open. You just didn't close, like,
Yeah.
latch it all the way.
Yeah, you sort of position it as you're climbing out, pull the thing, give it a light done, and yeah, it drops enough that it cannot be easily opened from the outside again. And yeah, you're able to walk back round to the car,
Yeah, then
and you can do as you wish.
I'll wait on the others while they're unevidencing themselves.
On evidence thing.
Well, Francis just has blood on his coat. But otherwise, he's just going to look at Vinny and call your men. Just get them here.
Is that because you don't want to ask Nathaniel to get his boys involved? So it's Benny and his
I
men.
tried, but people kept ignoring the joke.
No, I wasn't ignoring it. I was just not accepting it.
I do not want to have to fill out the paperwork for like being involved in this.
The best thing we can do is either, okay, there's two routes we can go with this. We can either set fire to this place, which we're not in favor of because there's a bunch of other people that to fuck with.
Yeah, this
Or-
is like a 5-story tall
Yeah.
apartment block.
Or
Yeah.
we just call the cops. We already got what we need, and if they find something else, then
We just send Waystone after them, and they'll probably come.
no, we just have Vinny ask his contacts. Dude, why did you go for like the pry bar option every time?
Nathaniel is corrupting me.
No. He's not the pry bar. He's I'm gonna drive a forklift through the wall option.
Speaking of which,
I like
I was
the
actually
analogy.
thinking, rather than making any kind of like anonymous report ourselves, if we just smash one of the windows in the back, eventually the people will find the body.
At them. That's fine. I can accept that too.
Francis will walk out the front door and just go back to his car. And that's when he
Yeah.
gets shot by another vampire.
I can accept that too.
Yeah, so is everyone heading out?
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, you guys are able to de-evidence things enough, considering you're not exactly going to be having prints run through Apis or anything as of yet. Now, I mean, maybe in about 40 years you might get a call, but that'll be fine. So yeah, are you guys doing anything specific on heading back to the cars, or?
I mean, is there like a shed out back or anything?
No.
Alright, then no.
No, it's literally as I say, it's an apartment block with, matching apartments going up about 5 stories.
Okay. I can rationalize where there'd be no bathroom in here. Communal bathroom.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
The bedroom though.
I'm sorry. Alright. I was doing the best I could. Anyway.
It's
Well,
a nice
now we know.
map.
Well, now
It's
we
a
know
nice
better. For the
map
next time, we
that-
get something like a map.
Yeah, it's a nice
Yeah,
map
it's
that I
wrong.
drew a dead stick man in. So I mean, it's all good.
Alright.
The dead stick man was my favorite character.
He was the MVP.
So,
You know, it's a dead stick man. That was the friends we made.
He
along
only
the way.
had
At
one
this
job, and that was to be
time-
dead.
it has never been past midnight. The chimes of all of the churches are going off because it is midnight and it's the new year.
And we failed to find all the hiding children, and the moon slams into the continent. We all die.
Wish.
You've met with a terrible fate, haven't you?
Oh yeah, it was getting called lunar squish. The moon used splat. It's super effective.
I was making a Majora's Mask reference.
So was I. So was Nav. Everybody got it. Thanks for pointing it out. The
Yeah.
joke is now ruined. Move on.
All right.
Before we decide to raid the president, I would like some time with these journals.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
You going anywhere specific or just reading by Carlight? Where
No,
Carlight thing in 1928? Don't know. Don't care.
Head
Yes,
back to
there were
the
Carlights.
archives, where I could have some reference materials.
Okay. Yep. That is a smart move.
Francis will head back to the archives as well.
And we will take this off with the off of here. Get you back on the other one.
So are Nathaniel and Vinny going to go outside, find a brick, and hurl it through the window?
I mean, we said what we were doing. It doesn't.
That's
We,
up
we
to
are
them.
making it so the cops will show up.
Yeah, I mean probably the easiest thing to do would actually just be to leave the door open.
And yell a little bit and then leave.
Oh, not
You know
even
what? That's
necessarily
also
yell.
fair.
Not even necessarily yell a little bit, like literally leaving the door open and leaving. People are going to walk past it,
Fair enough.
so you know it'll be discovered.
Just take it care of.
It's entirely up to those involved if they want to pan in windows. That's entirely up to them. But yeah, post everything. Yeah, you guys are able to head back to the archives in relative peace and everything. Other than you do start noticing there's a lot more people than normal wandering outside the various areas where there are definitely no alcohol serving places. That would be kind of crazy because there's prohibition and everything, and no one would be drinking at New Year's. That's just nuts, especially in 1928. Well, 1929 as it is now for the past 25 minutes. When you get back and find that the archives bar is quite hopping. There are a lot of people. They are doing the dancing and the socializing.
Yeah, I'll just like laser focus, just walks through everybody, goes in the back, heads downstairs.
Yeah, and you get +1 Moses effect because people just seem to part as you walk through.
I mean, it probably doesn't help that it's like I look like I've been in a fight.
Yeah, there's a few looks of like, holy shit, that suit probably looked really better before whoever got fucked up.
Oh no, I'm back in my armor, so I'm back in my normal suit.
Right, fair enough.
But I will go through the door to the back, stop, literally walk behind the bar, grab a bottle, leave some money on the bar for Jack, and keep going.
Jack just kind of waves a hand when you're pulling out some money. He's like, who cares? It's New Year's, enjoy yourself.
The money gets left in the bar anyway. He keeps trying this and he keeps failing.
Yeah.
It's just gonna come to the day where I'm gonna be like, man, I really need some money, and Jack's gonna pull out like a box, be like, here's all the money I told you not to leave on the bar.
Yeah, there's going to be a lockbox that's marked like L's lost funds. You open it up and it's like that scene in Pulp Fiction where the guy opens up the case and it's just gold shining.
Maybe.
So yeah, you guys, who's going with L?
I mean, Francis will be with him because him, her, they. Because he literally said he was going back to the archives.
Okay.
He's got nothing better to do tonight.
New Year's, you got nothing better to do. God, you're so interesting, aren't you? Yeah, he lied. Yeah. So what are Vinny and Nathaniel doing? Assuming you guys are here.
Thinking. Probably trying to figure out how exactly, like, because if we just charge in like we usually do, we're going to get shot.
A lot.
Yeah.
Charge in where?
To
President Coolidge's private residence.
To Calvin Coolidge's, like private residence to try and talk to him.
I just wanted to double check and make sure that I was not going to be assuming something you weren't doing. But I'm glad that we're on the same page of the worst possible idea. Mm-hmm. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it's a funny idea.
What do we do instead? Like, what is the... How else do we approach this?
Very carefully and probably waving a white flag with "Please do not shoot me on sight" written on it.
But that'll only make them want to shoot him more.
Well, that's a risk you'll just have to deal with. I mean, to be fair, that is on the assumption that you have to go to Coolidge's residence.
It's our only other lead at this point.
Yes, but then it's also a lead that's behind, as you have already pointed out, a large amount of firearms.
All right, so we're just going to drop it and let it resolve itself?
It's always leaving things alone is always a valid response.
Well, Benny, what do you think?
What do we know about Coolidge besides the fact of his political position and whatnot? What do we know about his?
All right, you know he's a very quiet man. He has he runs around with his cabinet quite a bit. He has about 20 known SSA agents. He and his wife live normally. They spend a lot of time up in did I say it was Northampton? And he has decided he wasn't going to run for the next term, because even though you do know that he was the vice president of Harding was killed. He ended up then becoming president. Then he had another term where he was elected president, and he was going to go for a third term, but he did not, because of the fact that he felt it was enough. And you're not sure, but there might have been some rumors that there's some health issues. And that's the reason why he did not continue. So, on March 5th is when, at this time period, is when, instead of January 20th, it is when there will be a change of presidents.
He's still in office today.
He is still in office until March 5th. He spends a lot of his holidays at Northampton. He does not like to be at the White House unless for his holidays.
Kind of catch me up here. The reason why you want to talk to him is because of the fact you just had the authority.
No. The reason why I want to talk to him is because the vampire implied to be Grayson met with somebody at the White House in Coolidge's office.
So it's more like that as a warning for him, or is it more like is he
It's more that it has been heavily implied that either he or someone in his cabinet has been involved with this vampire. And it was right before the shit went down. So it's a lot of circumstantial evidence being that meeting happened. Coolidge is here. There's a lot of hinky stuff going on with the Secret Service getting left behind after Coolidge left to guard an exit that they didn't need to because the president wasn't there anymore.
Okay. So there's a lot of question marks at this point, right?
Yeah.
If only one of us is the doctor, and we can go in and talk to his physician.
So it's unfortunately a lot of circumstantial evidence, and I don't want to go to Northampton to do this because it is a very bad idea, which is why I want to deal with these journals and hope I find something better. And then if not, then I guess we do the dumb thing.
And you get to throw down with Vampire Coolidge.
Yeah, but it's on top of the Washington Monument, so it's not as cool.
He does walk in the day, so you know he may not be a vampire.
That just means he's a very powerful vampire.
Okay,
Yeah, I was about to
that's
say.
possible.
I know. If we're going off Bram Stoker's Dracula as the main knowledge center for vampires, Dracula can walk in the day. He just basically has the power of a mortal man.
You cannot argue vampire logic with me.
Yes, I can. Because
Anyway,
I'm the DM, and I will change whatever you say.
so Viddy, are you going to be joining with Elle, or are you going to be doing your own thing?
I'm joining with Elle, because when I'm reviewing those journals, I'm kind of curious.
Okay.
Alright. So, yeah, on the shocking assumption that assaulting a highly secure location where the literal president of the current United States, or the current president of the United States, is in residence, seeming to be a bad idea. Yeah, you guys are able to head through and down into the actual main archives area. Where
I mean, it would also be
are-
current United States. Hawaii wasn't a state yet.
Well,
Moving on.
yeah, pretty much. So yeah, you're able to head down, and there are some people like still working and such. There's bits of decoration have been put up, because it is the holiday season and everything, and there are a few people still like hanging out in offices and such doing work. When you get there, you find that Ashley has added her lab coat to her ensemble, and is busy looking through some stuff that she's been able to bring back from the castle and everything, because she's kind of curious about this artifact as well. And yeah, when you head into the main library area to find a quiet spot, that's when you find her sitting at the tables with a stack of textbooks that, for at least Francis, glancing at the titles, this is like a solid 80% of what you would be looking out from the various selection, as reference textbooks and stuff, supporting information to try and research what the hell the artifact actually is.
Well, Francis will probably start helping in whatever research he can then.
Well,
And on that bombshell, I need to use the restroom.
I'm going to grab an intern or a level researcher and be like, "You're my errand boy. I need you to go find every book that you can find on ancient languages, specifically Sumerian, maybe even to Assyrian."
Francis will point him to his office. Third shelf on the right. Bunch of red books.
I want our books. I'm looking like you think they don't have copies of those.
Fair.
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, you are literally standing in one of the most well-stocked reference libraries in the continental U.S. at this point.
The intern will ask you, is there any specific thing that you're looking for, or you just want all of Assyrian and Sumerian type books?
Anything related to the language and dialects.
Very well.
Okay,
Let I go and grab it.
Okay, and rush off to grab a cart, and over the next 20 minutes, end up bringing a fuckload, a metric fuckload, potentially even a metric boatload of books to some of the tables, having to actually bring an extra table across, just so they have the space for the amount of textbooks they have on the various languages and stuff. Because unfortunately, it is a bit of a vague requirement.
I know. But I'll stop him at one point when he starts bringing out the Epic of Gilgamesh. I'm like, that's not going to help. Get out of here.
They just sort of pause and look at the book and okay, fair enough, yeah, and head back.
And if he starts being like that, I'd be like, I need it for anything related to translating. Don't be dumb.
Yeah, as they disappear around the corner to go head for some other books, all right, gotcha. Just kind of fading into the distance.
And then I'll go and grab a corkboard on wheels, bring it over, tack up the cipher, so I don't have to keep keeping through different pages. Start doing what I can, because the books are more just to start putting some things together. The journal's in English, so hopefully I won't need the books. But I'd rather have them on hand if I do.
Yeah, when you give the book a cursory flick through just to sort of correlate the contents, yeah, there's a lot of copies of bits where he's clearly been looking at a textbook and copying in a passage in what you would assume to be Sumerian and whatnot, and then working through the translation and a whole bunch of notes on, it's those things where this symbol appears to mean this, but in this context I think it means this other thing, and then what that means for the rest of the text, stuff like that. And you're able to fairly quickly piece together that he's under the impression that, according to a bunch of references to similar mechanisms and the specific phrase that's been etched into the medallion, that it does seem to relate to essentially a warning of what the key represents, but you're not entirely sure if part of this is being lost in translation, since after all the language is very old and meanings change.
Yes, and I will take that thing, scribble it on a piece of paper, slide it to Francis, and as the intern's bringing the books over, I'll point to Francis back. Those weren't for me; they were for him.
Yeah, the guy currently taking a stack of 12 very large textbooks kind of looks at Elle for a moment, then pivots to look at Francis with the widest shit-eating grin ever, and then leans over, and there is a solid, like, echoing thunk as the books hit the table.
The table creaks. There's a minor split in the top of it.
Yeah, these are, like, very chunky textbooks.
I need you to confirm his translation. Oh, Ray's in the bathroom. He's gonna say yes.
Oh yeah, that was actually a good point. I was literally going to mention that I do have to do that myself.
All right, well, we can take a small break if you like, but I do know Vinny is going to be going to bed soon.
Yeah.
Vinny, is there anything you're doing at this moment?
I'm back.
No, I'm just helping out with the research however I can. It's more of the specifically looking at the cipher and then trying to compare and contrast that with how the cipher work along.
When it comes to the cipher, after like looking at it for a couple of minutes, thinking like I'm sure I've seen this before. You do suddenly remember that you had a case a number of years back investigating a bunch of potential like jewelry thefts, and the people that were thought to possibly be like acting as a fence and moving the stuff on to other buyers. And it occurs to you that the way the cipher is written out looks kind of similar to like coded notes that you had to follow through a bunch of places, like going to bars and telling people specific phrases. They'd hand off a piece of paper,
Right.
and then you'd have to decode it, and it would be like a drop location or whatever.
Using like a book code or using stuff like that. Okay. So using those type of taking that as the type of idea, start playing around with pieces of paper, trying to equate this to see if I can find patterns that would work with the working with a cipher to make like a decipherable message. I mean, I'm assuming this is gonna take days, just like days and days of work, because of even if it's a small amount of text, we're dealing with a language that only one of us understands, and
Even that's vaguely.
that barely understands. The rest of us have no fucking clue, so we're gonna be shooting in the dark. So this is gonna take days of work, but I still think.
Yeah, but we have interns.
Yeah. So, and then again, digging in as much help as we can on this, because it's trying to turn into something.
We have unpaid labor to help with that.
You also have Ashley.
Yeah,
Do
she's
his
doing her
paper.
own thing. We'll take the interns.
Yeah. All right. So I will be back in a few minutes.
Nathaniel's like going through all of like the legal law he knows of to figure out, okay, if a member of one federal agency attacks and captures for the purpose of interrogating another member of a different federal agency, is that technically an attempted coup?
Yes.
Is it?
I think the answer of that comes down to who.
This is why Nathaniel is spending a lot of time digging through law books and like trying to figure out
Because
the
he's
specifics of
he's
how this all
deathly
interacts.
scared of the possibility that, yeah.
He's gonna get
Keep in
fired.
mind,
quite literally.
keep in mind, Nathaniel has a boss, who
Yeah.
is almost certainly going to be very upset about any of this that eventually gets back to him. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You're definitely aware that the biggest problem that is clear is if anything goes even slightly bad, and it gets back to your bosses at the boy is not going to be happy, and the boy would definitely not think twice about potentially making a certain Agent Orange never appear on any other employment records ever again. Because that would be a very fucking big no-no to go and start waving guns in the approximate location of the president. Plus, there's also just a mountain of red tape you would have to deal with.
Oh, there's a mountain of red tape right now that you have to deal with if
Yeah.
you do anything. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's probably one of those weird things. Like it depends who exactly is in charge of each branch, how much like influence they have over others. Like there's a giant web of trying to figure that out. So yeah, you're basically sitting there with the journal and like, if I piss off this guy, who's likely to come after? Well, he knows that dude, and that guy's got an agency who has ways in with this other one, and it's just this massive web of problems.
No. Being a government agent doesn't stop you from being a person and a citizen. If you have enough evidence that you could, in theory, bring somebody in as a suspect, it's not an attempted coup. It's doing your fucking job.
The question
What-
is if my
what
boss
else
will
true?
think that way.
Yeah, it's like whilst true, it does to a degree come down to who's prepared to go with it. Because
Well, no, that's
the
why
POI
if you're
might not be prepared to take that when it's the president. Even though technically they should, still ends up coming down to the actual people in charge. The general idea is it's a really bad fucking idea and you probably shouldn't. Sorry, what was that?
Moving on. All right, so
By that they mean you know for a fact you really shouldn't. This is a good way to get fired or worse, dead.
Oh, yeah, and on the subject of Mr. Francis there, this initially happened while you were away. I thought you were back. So, whilst you were away, dealing with stuff, Elle had one of the assistants go and pick up an epic shit ton of textbooks and reference logs and everything to do with, translation of languages and all that. And then when one of the guys came back with an absolute stack, like a metric unit of books, went to present them to Elle, who he was then informed by that they were for you. And then with the biggest shit-eating grin ever, dumps the books on the table in front of you to the point where the table starts creaking and you genuinely believe for a moment this is how you die.
No. Has the swivel desk chair been invented yet?
Yes, but you don't have one.
Damn. Somebody go find me a swivel desk chair. Take the back off of it.
No, you can't have a rolly stool.
That's not what it's for. The point is that it spins. And you know what I can do? I can set books open on the floor in a circle and spin around reading them all.
getting none of the information. Good job.
That's what you think.
Yeah. I don't
Funnily
think...
enough, that's actually a thing I do in real life.
Well, look, to be fair, I'm pretty sure your character does not have the ability of psychometry.
And
Or, like, ocular psychometry, I suppose. I don't know what the proper term would be for that.
Magica, that's also a very bad argument, as you are your #1 critic on I have bad reading comprehension.
Yeah.
Fair.
So your argument is not even invalid, it's just straight up wrong.
Yeah, I mean, we don't even have to get the two camels and a tiny car involved here. Your argument just...
What are you doing?
Okay. Etymology. Better.
Yes.
History. Anything pertaining to the entire case. Because unfortunately, we haven't moved on to a new mystery yet.
Correct. All right. So,
Did you not still have... at
No,
least
I used my
before?
one hold.
I thought you still had one. All right, so yeah, you're able to find a bunch of support and stuff, and the request initially made was to, basically double check the translation notes and everything. So yeah, you're able to spread out your bunch of books, do your little sit and spin trick, and for the most part, you're not surprised as to why this guy was fired, because the translation is serviceable, but clearly lacking in some places, because there has been further research that has kind of filled in some of the blanks that he's left, and essentially you're able to clear up the translation a little bit that initially seems to suggest like this is a key to a lock that should never be open, is the kind of gist that you get from the statement. And it turns out that depending on which book you specifically take its translation for certain symbols for, because you've got like the same symbol appearing in 3 separate texts that are translated slightly different, there's a very real possibility that what the text actually says is this is a representation of that key. So it's not the key itself, but somehow leads to the key. But you're not really sure what exactly that means.
Unfortunately, you would need more context and a bigger piece of a puzzle.
Yeah. However, it does occur to you that when you're looking through some stuff about the old symbolism and stuff, you find it interesting that the shape of the medallion, being a star with a circle around it, reminds you shockingly of an old sheriff badge.
That's an interesting thought.
So there's this general concept that maybe this is intended as not so much the actual key to something, but probably would be similar to like how you know how the Eye of Ra is not meant to be literally Ra's eye, it's a symbol of Ra
Yeah.
and his power and wisdom and everything. Same with various other symbols, that they're not meant to be the thing. You know, the wafer is not literally Jesus, it's symbolic. So it comes across as that idea that this wasn't exactly to do with religion specifically, but it got that kind of what's the word? Not respect, but
Appropriation?
no. It took on that meaning, which, funnily enough, would be the literal definition of the word assumption. It took on that like religious significance to a specific group. And while you're looking through some of them, you also notice that parts of the phrase that you're able to make out seem to have when you compare it to some other Latin phrases, you come across a term. I gotta double check this. You come across part of the phrase that, when translated into Latin, comes back as Domus Nox.
That it?
Yep.
Interesting. Francis is literally writing all of this shit down.
All right.
Because God forbid I could articulate words.
Okay.
I just
That's
picture while all this is happening, Elle sitting there with a stack of textbooks, eating something out of a bowl.
Nah, Elle's eating the textbook.
Well, look, I mean, at the end of the day, cereal, milk, then the bowl.
But the bowl is the best part. Why would you save that for last?
Elle, what are you specifically looking for?
I was going through the journal hoping the sniper like correlated to it and had an extra message in it or something, but
Okay. Oh. Yeah. Go ahead and roll me sharp.
oh, that's 5. That's failure. Moving on.
That's unfortunate.
That is unfortunate.
But but Elle is taking the experience.
Yep. Okay.
How close are you to leveling up again, Elle?
3 out of 5.
Oh, nice. What am I at? I gotta scroll down. 1 out of 5.
So yeah, while you're looking through the stuff, trying to piece parts of the phrase together, you're working through stuff for a few minutes here and there, trying to find relevant text and stuff. There's a lot of page turning and swishing of paper until you decide you know what, I'm just going to take a break for this for a few minutes because that fucking headache's coming back, and you decide you're going to leaf through one of the other books, and when you pick up the 2 journals that you got, you flick through the second one, and it's more like an actual personal journal, and as you're going through it, you suddenly get this like searing headache, like somebody's just walked up and smacked you across the back of the head as you're glancing down one of the pages, and you come across mention of going by the date, this would be about a year prior to now, so this is like just at the tail end of 27. You see a name written down. The entry basically is like, was at the shops getting some stuff, ran into an old colleague, and it mentions the name Lucian Vex. And you don't know why, but this suddenly gives you like the ground's just falling out. This is a bad thing. You don't know why, but that name really sticks out as an oh fuck. To the point of like having this massive headache come on, and you just want rid of that book. Immediately just kind of flipping it across the table.
Name sears into your head like a headache that will not go away.
In that case, I'll take a break. You can get up and go take a shower.
Okay.
Are you leaving the archive to go back to your own place?
No.
On-site facilities.
Yeah, on site.
All right. Yeah, you're able to hit the showers, as it were, and get yourself like properly, fully cleaned up from the fact that you're still in a bad spot there. But the entire time, like the name keeps sort of sitting at the back of your mind. Like you feel like you should know who this is, but you can't place it. Like it's just on the edge of being fully grasped. Yeah, it's the literal. It's just ever so slightly out of reach. The tips of your fingers are able to reach it just, but you can't quite pull it into proper grasping territory. and it's after you have the shower and everything and go to get redressed, because you've picked up the belt and everything. The belt feels kind of strange in your hand when you're putting it back on. It feels like it's not yours. Somehow there's this weird sensation as if you shouldn't have it. And it's another one of those things, like it feels natural, normal. It feels normal in your hand, but at the same time, it kind of feels like it's not really yours. I know that's kind of difficult to explain.
Now, you've had this feeling before when you first got it. But this is the same feeling you had when you first got that belt. That whip, or whatever it is. And it does glimmer a little bit more than it normally does.
Interesting. Okay. We're gonna push that aside. I'm gonna do that right now. I mean, I guess I'll go search out Hayden if he's here.
Yeah, when you're heading back, you do notice that Hayden's I say small, Hayden's office within the archives, the door had been closed prior, and now it's sitting slightly open.
Alright, well, I'll give it a light knock.
There's a few seconds of silence, and then, yeah, who is it?
I'll answer the room.
Oh, hell. What
I
can
have
do for you?
a random name to drop on you that was in that journal.
Oh.
It's one I swear I've heard before, but can't remember where. Lucian Vex.
He looks at you for a moment. He was in the process of having a cigarette, which he then quite casually stopped out. Vex.
Yeah.
Do you have any reason that you think you might know the name?
No, it's just that, when you read a name, you get that feeling that you've heard it, or you've met this person, or somebody's told it to you. That's it.
Well, I would be slightly curious. And while he's saying that, he leans back on the swivel chair that he has. I would be curious because I wasn't aware that you were involved in anything to do with the drug trade.
I mean, tangentially, I guess.
Could be where you heard it. What I'm aware of is Lucian Vex is apparently the real power holder of one of the larger drug cartels of Los Angeles. And recently, as much as at least 6 months ago, he was apparently in Chicago. Apparently their group is attempting to take over trades in that area.
Huh. Okay, we might have a much bigger issue.
Why's that?
So, oh god, why am I blanking on this guy's name? The mob boss. Why?
Oh, Richie.
Yeah. Richie says I've somehow pissed off somebody from out west, and they're coming to have a air quote, chat with me. I don't know what I did. Oh, I did.
You think that might be the specs?
Maybe. It'd be really hard for me to piss off somebody in LA who's been there.
Well, something you might be interested in. And he gets up, heads over to a cabinet, and pulls out a drawer, lifts out a very thin file that you see has LB written on it, and heads over, hands you the file. And as soon as you open it, there's one piece of paper in there, and it lists. Oh god damn it! I knew I should have double checked this for when it came up. You vaguely remember the year, the earliest year that you remember fully being in this world, right?
Right.
On this piece of paper, it has the name Lucius Vex, a couple little paragraphs talking about he basically appeared out of nowhere, beat down, like quite viciously, beat his way through a bunch of low-level drug traffickers and stuff, and took over that group. And then has basically sat in like a kingpin sort of position since then, slowly expanding the like seat of power that he has within the underworld. And then at the very bottom of it, there's a mention of the same year that you first remember being in this world, followed by an equals sign, then your name and a question mark. And Hayden points to it and says, apparently he's been around as long as you have. And before you ask, your file is about the same.
Yeah, well, maybe it's time we add a little to that. This is... I don't want to do this. Oh, well. Open the door, have an intern run and grab Ashley and the other two PCs. Well, grab Vinny too, because he's technically here. And be in the room, like, fill in at the end later.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah, there's a couple people walking along with like one of them's eating a piece of cake off a plate and they've got a party hat on. As soon as they notice, they're like, "Oh shit, work!" And then you tell them go and get the others, including Ashley, and they're like, "Oh, okay, yeah." So they run off and grab everyone.
Ashley's gonna ask, is this a private or will this be public event?
Well, man, this is a meeting.
Meeting. Private or public meeting?
She's asking how many interns you want to know about this.
Yeah.
Well, no. I mean, literally, it's a case of go and grab these people. I'll wait. They run off, grab those people, and be like, "Elle wants you to go and see them. They're at
The implication is private.
They're at Elle.
right.
They're at Hayden's office, basically."
Ashley heads to Hayden's office in a rather hurried moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so those who wish to go to the office and be in this meeting would do so.
Well, Francis will be there. Be like, glad to see you made it back alive, Hayden.
Yeah, he kind of just smirks and like, yes, it was a absolutely terrible, harrowing experience.
I mean, you had
I'm
to
sure.
So.
Yeah, he nods, emotions to Elle, like, yeah. Oh, is that man? Oh my god.
You got a work life that we did.
Well, I have to say, he motions back to the table where you can see there's a whole pile of documents laid out where he's clearly like, okay, we'll need some people to look through this area. That area is an absolute fucking no-go. That gets armed guards. This area,
That gets the special weapons.
Like
Yeah.
I said, you're probably best off not even exploring it, just collapsing the entrance and calling it a day.
Yeah, he's kind of like, I'm really considering that because I don't want anyone touching that place without knowing what we're doing.
I think it's best we just do.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have access to plenty of dynamite.
Now the question is, are we buying this piece of property, or are we just gonna collapse it? What are we doing here?
I don't know. I have to send that up the chain. We'll
Alright.
probably find it in the next week. But that's not what everyone's here for. And he'll then motion to L. So everyone's gathered. I mean, I'm assuming everyone's gathered.
So, I don't know if this has anything to do with the vampires, but I was looking through the... I never got the researcher's name, or the archaeologist's name.
Oh, that's a good point. Yes, you didn't.
Name.
No, I actually you did. It was on the door. It was
Yeah.
on the
Right,
door.
right.
And none of us asked what it said.
Right, it was there.
No, I did.
It may not have been expressly asked by most people, but yes, I do remember that Nathaniel did ask.
It
And
was
he got
asked.
the name, Dr. Julian Sheary. Because you
That's
remember.
right, I made the Ed Sheeran joke. You're right.
Joke.
Yeah,
Jinx.
yeah, exactly.
So, going through Professor Sheary's journals, one is academic journal, the other is a personal journal. The academic journal, I believe, Francis has more information than I do. The personal journal, the one that might is potentially bringing a future problem, unrelated to the vampires.
Yeah.
There was a name that I got out of it, in Lucien Vax, who apparently is a underworld kingpin from LA.
What are they doing here?
They're not here yet, but they're on their way, if my guess is right.
Why?
Apparently me.
What did you do?
I didn't do anything to them as far as I know. And that's the problem. So I'm
Yeah,
sure you...
Hayden, as you're explaining that, Hayden goes back round the table, sits down, lights up another smoke, and in the process, yeah, he does mention, well, Ashley, you're aware of how far our reach goes, and we don't know.
So,
Right.
the thing is, you guys have been brought into a world of supernatural bumfuckery, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, it's kind of our job at this point.
And you've noticed that that supernatural bumfuckery I seem to have a connection with, or knowledge of, because I'm not technically human.
Ashley looks at you with wide eyes and curiosity. And thinks,
I mean, I watched you literally touch a guy and they splattered. I'm not even shocked.
You also watched me jump 30 feet. Yeah, I already figured that one with the more dead giveaway. And the healing. But moving on.
Yeah, there's that.
I don't remember much beyond when I woke up in a field, well, not a field, an orchard somewhere near southern Massachusetts about 80 years ago.
Huh.
80 years ago.
Yeah, good for somebody in their 80s.
I fought in both the American Civil War and the Great War.
Okay.
And I will take out pictures from their file, slide them over.
So these are real.
Yes.
We only had speculation, but we did think these possibly could be weird.
And it seems
Uncanny.
that this Lucien Vex showed up in the United States around the same time I did, and has been around for about the same time. Getting the impression we are similar.
Is it possible they're the reason you're here, or vice versa?
Maybe. I have vague recollections of what I was, where I was. Fairly certain was.
Is?
Yeah. Hence, I guess it doesn't matter. Member of the heavenly host. What most people would call angels.
Ah, that would explain why you get pissed off whenever I bring up one of the insert demon name here.
The
Nah.
last time he got upset with you was with Gabrielle.
Oh yeah.
Because I was there, remember? You
Right.
just said
I
it,
said,
like,
for all we know, it could
a
be
few
Gabriel
hours
over there.
ago.
Like 12 at this point. Looks at watch.
It was less than a day. Time frames are over. Don't know why not there anymore. I don't remember why. I have an idea. I don't know why it would relate to this particular person.
Maybe they just decided they don't like you.
How would they know I was here? It's not like the newspaper in Boston reaches LA.
You know what? That's fair. Because this is a time period where if you wanted a newspaper from another state, you literally had to go request it from your library, and they had to put in a request.
So I just figured but it should be aware that somebody like me with apparently a far less accurate moral compass was on their way. Fortunately, they didn't get much out of Ashiri's personal journal as far as the vampires.
Can't you dig at Lucian Vex's information?
Sort of. It was in there, but the context is fuzzy.
I mean, leave it to a teacher to write their journals in cipher.
Well, I mean, this is the thing you find out because Ashley kind of looks across and like, oh, sort of nips out the door, goes over to the tables where everyone was, sees the journal, has a quick flick through, comes back, like, this one?
Sure.
To which, if you wish to, you can be like, oh, it's on this page here, like, there.
Yeah.
And on reading that, she actually reads it out, and it's basically, yeah, this guy was out doing some shopping and stuff. He then went to have a business meeting with someone who he then mentions, like, you know, meeting went well and everything. Left the bar. Funnily enough, the description of the location sounds kind of like one of the other bars that Elle frequents now and then. Not Deceit, but you know, it's one of those nicer places. And then yeah, mentions running into Vex at another shop, and also mentions the weirder thing being that when they ran into them, like, no one else seemed to actually notice, other than one of the people saying, he picked up on the phrase from someone else saying, you know, talking to yourself is a sign of madness. And then that person was really weirded out by the fact of him gesturing to the person he was talking to and was like, I'm having a conversation, please. And the person being like, you're fucking weird, and leaving off, as if they never even comprehended that this guy was even there. And then as Ashley flicks through the remaining entries, there's a couple other mentions of the person here and there, noting that they've been coming across kind of weird. Like, the guy's is damn certain that their eyes were glowing at one point, and it's just like, I mean, I know they say that, you know, there's side effects to some of these drugs, but I mean, that's not one of them, is there? So she's able to piece together quite quickly that the connection between these two is that, what did I call him again? Oh yeah, Shiri. One of those reasons that he got fired was that he was a drug addict. And that became a problem. And yeah, Francis had suspicions on that, but it was
Well, now we know that he
Oh.
was in at least
Huh?
something of a clean state of mind, at least. Or at least cognizant, because he was able to take these notes.
Well, yeah. 'Cause, I mean, not all drug users are constantly off their face. Especially not considering, like, this guy was only fired a few weeks ago. So that was when it became a problem that people weren't that prepared to, you know, spending their own time, potentially money, and influence with others to cover it up. Eventually, someone in, you know, the upper levels of the university was like, right, that's it. He has to go.
All right, his tidings up. Get rid of him.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
Yeah, it was basically that thing. You cannot hide behind the contracts and anything anymore. There's the fucking door. Get your junky ass out of here.
Here's a pat on the back. Good luck.
No, it was more like a kick in the ass, and don't let the door hit you on the way out. Kind of thing. Because yeah, you weren't aware at the time of the actual details of his firing, other than he was kind of belligerent about it until, like, you know, a few of the suits from higher up sort of drag him into the corner, have a few words, and he got the message to fucking leave quietly.
Take his pension and leave. Or severance pay and leave.
But then
No,
considering
MIT
that,
would have offered a pension.
Yeah.
yeah, but at the same time, this guy's a crazy junkie.
Mm,
So the whole point being, it was kind of messy. Even with the attempts of, like, you know, covering things up to make them not seem that bad, because, you know, you don't want the reputation of your university being soured by having to chuck out one of your lecturers in an important subject at that time, being a junkie.
Yeah, fair enough.
But there is that connection of, well, this guy was off his face on stuff a lot of the time. This other guy is, you know, kingpin of, you know, the drug world.
And we happen to have a butler who got himself some very powerful drugs.
Yeah. There could be a connection there.
Indeed. And we know that somebody who was delivering those drugs was a vampire.
Well, no. You don't know that someone was delivering drugs and was a vampire. You know that a guy got drugs. Possibly from vampires, but definitely from normal people. Because
Well,
it's kind of difficult if you explode in sunlight to be a street dealer in the daytime.
My understanding is that the drugs that we saw the butler with were his bribe.
Yes, but it doesn't mean Grayson gave them to him.
Well, fair enough.
Exactly.
Got it from the same group that they belong to.
But
Anyway.
at the same time, it's good ideas.
Yeah. Well, that's unfortunately all I got out of the journals. What about you, Professor?
Francis will lay out all of his notes. Yeah, sorry, I'm kind of
Hayden-
dozing.
Yeah, Hayden kind of looks at the sudden spread of notes being laid out on his table and, like, geez, did you take enough notes?
No.
Oh, I'm going to need a bigger table. He chuckles like, okay, so what were you able to gather?
Francis explains everything.
I mean, one thing you
There
know.
was a name in there that I can't. That's suddenly blanking on me because I didn't ask how to spell it. Name or phrase or something like that. Sounded like Latin.
Oh, you're talking about the Domus Nox, or
Yeah,
Nox
that one.
Domus.
It was Domus Knox.
Well, I'm saying that it can be in either order.
Well, yes.
I mean, technically, being Latin, it would be Nox Dominus.
Yeah, fair enough.
When you mention that, Hayden will look up and mention, oh, the House of Night.
Yes. What about it?
Oh, don't fucking tell me. According to some information that we gathered from when we're looking into Vex, there is was a group in LA who called themselves Nox. That was one of the groups that he dismantled, basically. There are a few people in one of the other offices who don't believe that they are completely gone, that he might have actually taken them over. And they kind of think that might be this House of Night. Which that might actually make sense.
I mean,
I'm going to have to make a few calls.
Fair enough.
Because supposedly they had some kind of belief in vampires and stuff.
I mean, good news for them. Vampires exist.
No, not good news for them. It's bad news for us.
Well, just modify some crossbows to fire some wooden stakes. Problem solved.
Ashley looks at you like...
You get a look as if to say, if looks could kill, you would be taking a couple harm from the dagger.
If looks could kill, I would be in a pit in the floor.
Ashley is looking at you with daggers in her eyes. Like,
yeah, I mean,
I
keeping in mind,
thought you would have learned this by now. Stakes?
Yeah, she
Don't
was
do
literally
it.
hunted by them. Yeah, Hayden points that out, like, he gestures to Ashley. She was literally hunted by them, and I'm the only reason that she was not ripped apart.
Yeah, fair enough.
And I tried to use a stake. It didn't work.
Well, better start carrying around holy water and silvering your weapon.
Yeah, Hayden just kind of shrugs and like, just don't believe what you read in the fiction. There's some truth to it, but it's not all there. Stoker's Fable is quite accurate to some types, but not all of them.
That said, I'm sure if we looked hard enough, we could find a group of vampires that just like good.
Maybe. I wouldn't hold my breath though.
You don't have to.
You never
Vampires
know.
do it for you.
Okay, that gets a chuckle.
Is Nathaniel on here as well? Because I haven't heard anything from Nathaniel.
Nathaniel's
like half an
still
hour.
been, like I said, trying to figure out the legal, potential legal fallout and repercussions of
So
this
literally just been
potentially
told that-
turning into a shootout with Secret Service agents.
so literally was just told by Elle that L is a divine being.
Well, not
Literally, it's like-
necessarily. I did ask, if everyone was there. So I mean, if Nathaniel does want to be there, Nathaniel can. It's entirely up to Nathaniel if he went with the person that came along to be like, hey, you're being requested at the office.
Okay, if somebody specifically came up and asked for him to attend, then yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, they did. Everybody
so, yeah.
of your team, including Vinny's here. Just we can't say
Yeah.
anything that Vinny would have done, which I know what he would have done, which is a lot more than just
T-pose
really.
for dominance.
No, he would have gone, what? Yeah.
But we could do a flashback for this next week.
Yeah.
I
It
mean,
is-
And
maybe
on that
he's,
bombshell,
maybe he's posing for dominance in the corner, trying to, composite or compartmentalize the whole thing of this literal divine being stating, "Oh yeah, divine being's totally 100% a thing."
Oh, Ashley's kind of
That-
at that shock right now. She's like, she's. We're talking about vampires, and he's talking about being an angel. Yeah, she's in shock too.
Like
No,
running at that Nathaniel knew the
I mean
entire
there were
time.
ideas of possibly something special about you, Elle, but
anyways, on that bombshell, as it is time,
you never
I am
told us
going
you
to
were that.
vote.
Yeah, because it's dangerous for people to know.
All right, take care, Magica.
Take care.
I will chat on y'all later. I
Yep.
need sleep.
If it's dangerous, how dangerous? What could happen?
You know Sodom and Gomorrah?
Yes.
That.
Yeah, Hayden just kind of points out, yeah, the texts are somewhat inflated, but they're not actually that far off the mark.
She is just in shock, and literally, she would be T-posing for Dominus at this moment. It's like, seriously?
I feel like this actually works as a good
Good ending.
stopping point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll stop with what she says when she was literally paused for a moment and then says seriously, and then the camera pans away with the credits. And this is KarsaKKWx. Karsa's my name. KKWX is my empire. You are here today to listen to Waystone Mysteries, where we find out Elle is an angel and somebody's after him. Goodbye.